everyone, welcome to another Magic Arena deck tech. So this week I've got a deck for you that's not my own creation. It's actually a deck of the day that was on channelfireball.com, Mono Blue Aggro by Eric Froelich. And I couldn't make this deck originally, so I wanted to talk about making a budget version of it, because there's kind of a few different ways to do it, and I really have liked it. It's been really good to me. So I wanted to kind of share it off. Now, the original deck is going to call for 4 Tempest Djinns, which I actually, if you have the cards to make it, absolutely do that. 2 Dreamcaller Siren, 4 Nimble Obstructionist, which I would probably put in as well. Lookout Dispersal. I put in Aether Swoopers and Skyship Plunderers because it wanted 4 Warkite Marauders, and I only have 1. So there's a lot of rares in this one. And it's a little bit of a choking point for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of other people on Magic Arena. So I've decided to make a few changes. We also have 4 Siren Stormtamers, Curious Obsession, and Unsummon. So kind of the point of the deck is just a really aggressive / tempo-based deck. And Tempest Djinn is kind of the glue that holds that together. This card is massive. And another really good thing about it is that Mono Red doesn't necessarily have a great way to deal with it immediately. They have things like Wizard's Lightning and other things that deal 3 damage, but they don't really have a 4. If they have something like a Soul Scar Mage, obviously that's a problem, because then they can just pop it off slowly. But Tempest Djinn is a lot of damage early on, and they can't really just kill it outright. So a lot of the times you can get quite a lot of damage through with it. It just gets absolutely massive. And you slap a Curious Obsession on it, or you have a Siren Stormtamer, even better, to prevent them from being able to remove it, and you're in absolutely amazing shape. So, the point of the deck, what you're trying to do is just curve out with Siren Stormtamer and smash them before they can recover. Siren Stormtamer is arguably, as much as Tempest Djinn, this is the other, to me, the most important card. Because Siren Stormtamer just counters a spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control. You can stop Sealaways, you can stop Wizard's Lightnings, you can stop, basically everything. Settle the Wreckage even. So if you go wide around their board and you've just got a bunch of flyers, you can keep attacking as long as you have a Siren Stormtamer. So even if they're white-blue control, doesn't matter. You just keep going in because Siren Stormtamer protects you from that. Really, really awesome card. And when you're putting things like Curious Obsession onto a Tempest Djinn, you can slam 2 or 3 and feel really good about it as long as you have a Stormtamer, and that just puts you miles ahead because you can draw so many extra cards. Really, really sweet. The original deck didn't have Skyship Plunderers. It had a bunch of Warkite Marauders, but I put these in as a bit of a budget concern. I didn't have enough rares, and I've been really impressed with them. You know, I think that I would probably make that change anyways. Things like Warkite Marauder, it does stop them from having flyers, which is really good because you make a creature, become 0/1, lose all its abilities, so it'll allow you to keep pushing damage. But what Skyship Plunderer does is you're going to be running a lot of these Stormfleet Aerialists. Stormfleet Aerialist enters with a +1/+1 counter as long as you attack the creature. Well, you can keep adding counters to that, so you can get these Stormfleet Aerialists to snowball out of control. It's not insane, but it's certainly on the level of Warkite Marauder. Warkite Marauder has an ability that sometimes does things, and so does Plunderer, but I think that sometimes does things as a little bit higher even. So I try and run a lot of Skyship Plunderers, or at least think about it. Like I said, the original list would be running a lot more Warkites, a lot more Nimble Obstructionists, and another Tempest Djinn, and I always run the extra Tempest Djinn, and probably the Nimble Obstructionist, because you're going to be seeing, we talked about things like Settle the Wreckage. One of the other main removal things that you'll see is, because there's a lot of white-blue control in Standard, is you're going to see Sealaways, and you're going to see Cast Outs, and you're going to see Excellent Bindings. Things like that. Nimble Obstructionist counters all those because they're activated and triggered abilities, right? So you can stop them from being able to remove a Tempest Djinn with a Seal Away. And that's really, really key. Plus, nobody really expects you to flash it. A Nimble Obstructionist, you have something like Favorable Winds to give all your creatures a flying +1/+1. You can get really sudden swings of damage that they don't expect. Same with like Dreamcaller Siren, same kind of thing. Which is why they're both really cool key cards. So I'm loving this deck. It's super, super fun. I did make some changes to it because I did manage to get some more cards. So that was kind of the budget list that I'd run. And now this is a bit of a different one where I've actually got more of the cards. So I don't have more Nimble Obstructionists. But I do have some extra Warkite Marauders, and I have the Skyship Plunderers this time. So this version is running the 4 Tempest Djinns now. It's running the 2 Dreamcaller Sirens. I don't think you want more than that because you don't really need too many lands. You don't want to run too much on the top end. You just want to be really fast early game. We're running 3 Stormfleet Aerialists and 4 Plunderers, which feels weird, but I did have a bit of a problem where Aerialist would often be my 2-drop that I had in my hand, so it wouldn't get raid. It would just be a 1/2. And so I wanted to cut that down a little bit while also maximizing having 2 power flying creatures on 2 and the ability to, then snowball out of control with Stormfleet Aerialist. So we did that. One card that I didn't mention in this deck yet is Lookout's Dispersal. This card is awesome. There's a lot of pirates that we have. Skyship Plunderer is a pirate, Stormfleet Aerialist, Warkite, Stormtamer, and the Dreamcaller Siren are all pirates. So because of that, this is often just going to cost 2 mana. Nobody expects it. Nobody expects Lookout's Dispersal, and it's just better than Mana Leak at that point. If you're countering something for 4 or less, that's really cool. Like if you can have them have to pay 4 or more, that's absolutely fantastic. The other card that I didn't mention is Unsummon. So this goes into that same tempo that we were talking about before, where you're going to want to be using Nimble Obstructionist as like surprise damage out of nowhere. You're going to be wanting to use Dreamcaller Siren to push through that last little bit of damage where your opponent just doesn't expect it because you just tap down a couple things and smack them for a whole ton of damage when they have blockers up. And Unsummon does the same thing. You can use it to stop your opponent from having blockers, but you'll also use it a surprising amount of time to save your own creatures from removal spells. You can buy back your Warkite Marauders and things like that. All of your creatures are really, really cheap, so don't be afraid to just buy a creature back when they try and use like a Moment of Craving on it. Buy back Warkite Marauder, replay it, and then just start smacking them again. So Unsummon's actually been very, very good in this deck. I wasn't 100% certain on it. I mean, it looks so medium, but it's just kind of what the deck needs. So it's just very fast, consistent aggro. I've really liked it. It's done pretty well for me, and we're going to run it through some games. So stick around, and I'm going to run this version through some games after we've shown that budget version as well. And this one will be the one that I'll have below in the description. So let's go do some games and see how we do.